Namaste and welcome to Pramanic Astrology channel and welcome to the stream. And please confirm the audio and video if you're able to hear loud and clear. Last stream audio is not great. Even I didn't like it. Okay, so I want you guys to confirm if you are having great audio and video. Please confirm. Just type in AV. Audio is good. So I don't need to adjust the microphone. Okay. So in this video, we are going to talk about the yes. Thank you, Supernova, Arpita Mandal, Prerna Mantri, Medi Setti, Pawan Kumar, Tina Gandhi, Arpita Mandal, Anil Mandwarkar. Thank you guys for responding. I'm grateful for your help. Thank you. Okay, and if you want, you can also take the notes. I'll be sharing some slides as well. So today we are going to talk about the combustion of the planets, retrogression of the planet, and I get a lot of question around what if I have a planet which is exalted and combust, exalted and retrogression. Okay, so we are going to deep dive into those subjects as well today. Okay, now what is combustion? Combustion is setting of a planet. Just like sunrise and sunset, planets also set. And when a planet set, it has a particular placement in the sky which makes it set. And what are the impacts of it? I've already made a separate video on combustion of the planet, retrogression of the planet. You can go and watch them. But there are a lot of myths around the retrogression of the planet. Okay, the retrogression of the planet literally means the apparent movement of the planets backward. Okay, planets do not move backward. It's just that they come too closer to the earth. That's why we feel they're moving backwards. Okay, so retrogression is not about but they appear to come travel back. Now some of the scholars, some of the astrologers also believe that the retrograde planet aspects the previous sign. In my studies, I have not followed this. I don't know if there is any research around this. At least in Parashari, maybe in Nadi Jyotish, there would be some other techniques and which would be working. I respect that, but in Parashari Jyotish or even in Gemini Jyotish, I don't see uh, any classical book or any reference of planet aspecting the previous house. But what happens with this is, let's say Jupiter have some special aspect. Jupiter will aspect the fifth house from itself, ninth house from itself, and the seventh house, the normal drishti of the planet. Let's say it is retrograde, and if we consider it from the previous side, let's say it's retrograde from the Sagittarius, and now we consider it in the sign of Scorpio because it is retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius. We consider it in Scorpio, and then consider all the aspects, the three special aspects. Then it's like we are that Jupiter would aspect almost 8 rashis. Okay, doesn't make sense. So I usually don't use it, but retrogression of the planet is one of the strength of the planet. I really like when Mercury is retrograde and even Saturn is retrograde. I like these two retrogrades because Mercury, we'll talk about it later, and I've already made a video on each of the specific retrogression of the planets. Okay, if you want to know more about what is Jupiter retrograde in the natal chart, I'm not talking about the transits, I'm talking about the natal chart. Like if you're born with Jupiter in retrograde in your chart, that is something special and unique. Saturn retrograde, Mercury amazing. Okay, so these couple of retrogression, I really like these retrogression. But another myth around this retrogression is, uh, it is always have some negative connotations attached to it. And what I have observed in my studies is retrogression is the strength of the planet. Okay, there are six type of strength. Okay, it is called as Shad Bala. Shad is six, Bala is strength. So the six folded strength of a planet, one of the strength is Cheshta Bala, and the Cheshta Bala is nothing but the retrogression. So when a planet is retrograde, in fact, it becomes powerful. Now the question arises whether this planet is good or bad. Now, to answer this question, there is no direct answer to this question, because for that you need to know the planet associated with that Lagna. You have to see the lordship of that planet with respect to the Lagna, and then it will give you an idea about what exactly is happening into that chart. But when we talk about the retrogression of the planet, don't jump and conclude it as bad. Okay, the retrogression of the planet gives strength, and one of the things which I have observed in the retrogression is unusual effect of that planet or that house. Let's say your seventh lord retrograde. I oftentimes gets question, oh, I have seventh lord retrograde in to birth chart, so what is going to happen with that? So you can expect some unusual effects around the seventh house or at the time of your marriage. Okay, but it does not mean you're going to have divorce, you're going to have bad marriage. Okay, even if you have an exalted planet, you can get divorced. Okay, and sometimes divorce is not bad. You have to come out of the toxic relationships, and it's a kind of a blessings. Okay, so I don't consider it anything good or bad. But let's say you are in a good relationship, you want to be in that relationship for long, and then you get a divorce, then it becomes a bad thing, right? But I would recommend you not to get into good and bad thing about retrogression, but see it as it is. So retrogression is not bad, and it is not good. It is the strength of the planet, and more importantly, the unusual part of the planet's signification and the lordship. Okay, that is what it has uh, to the retrogression. Okay, so don't just jump to the conclusion and get uh, into the fear mode. Okay, I always recommend people don't get into the fear mode. Okay, let's say if astrology, let's say you have just started learning astrology, and you don't know the real nature of the how planets work and what exactly do we interpret. Don't just watch any YouTube channel, don't even watch my YouTube channel, and conclude something and get into the fear mode. I don't want you to be afraid of astrology. I want you to get inspired by astrology. I want you to get empowered with that there are planetary alignments which are challenging, and you knowing it itself is enough for you to tackle it. Makes sense? We're talking about the retrogression of the planet. So retrogression of the planet, there are a couple of things. Let's say you have a planet who is exalted and retrograde. Let's say you have Jupiter, which is exalted and retrograde, right? And it doesn't, one of the myth around the exaltation and retrogression is it does not cancel the exaltation or debilitation. Okay, some people think that Okay, I have exalted Jupiter and it is retrograde, so it will give the effect of the debilitated Jupiter. No, the beauty about the exalted planets is you don't have to be retrograde to give the effect of a debilitation. If you look at the rashis of the exaltation, the rashi of the exaltation for Jupiter is Cancer and debilitation is Capricorn. They are exactly opposite to each other. So planet is whenever a planet is whenever a planet is exalted, he is aspecting the debilitation sign, and whenever it is into the sign of debilitation, it is aspecting directly into the seventh house with this, in the sign of exaltation. Okay, so whenever you are uh, having an exalted planet or debilitated planet which is retrograde, don't think that it will give the effect opposite to it. It has nothing to do with it. Okay, the exaltation is one kind of a dignity which gives a strength, and the retrogression is also a kind of a strength. That is it. Okay, now let's move on to the combustion. What is a combustion? Combustion is the setting of the planet. Just like sunrise, there is sunset. We oftentimes see the planets getting set. Okay, so let me show you something. One, let me see if I can pull that here. Share screen window. I'm just pulling that file. Mimic it. Five. Okay, so combustion of the planet is, you will see by the way, this is the uh, these are the outer planets combustion. Okay, so there are two ways the combustion work. Okay, the inner planets and the outer planets. When inner planets get combust, there is a different formation, and when outer planets get combust, there is a different formation. Okay, let me just see that. Okay, so when outer planets get combust, the sequence is like this. Let me just show you here. Okay, so it's like there is Earth, there is Sun, and the outer planets, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Okay, so now you will see that Sun is between, like Earth is between the Sun and the outer planets. Okay, so it is retrograde. When a planet is retrograde and it is close to the Earth, close to the Sun, it becomes combust. When it comes close to the Earth, it becomes retrograde, and when it goes to the uh, near Sun, it gets combust. Now, go and check your chart if you have if you have combust planets, combust outer planets, the planets like Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn, you will oftentimes see that they are opposite of the Sun. okay, when they are uh, retrograde. But when it comes to the inner planets like Mars, not the Mars, Venus and Mercury, let me just show you that. So when Venus and Mercury is combust, the excuse me, the composition is like this. Let me just pull that. See, for this inner planets is, now you will see that Mercury and Venus are retrograde when they are closer to the Earth, okay, and when they are closer to the Earth, you will see that even though they are retrograde, their rays can reach on Earth, okay. So a planet when it is retrograde, combust, exalted, you have to see a lot of things about it. You have to see their degrees, you have to see the placement, okay. You have to see whether that is an inner planet or outer planet. Inner planet behave differently, outer planet gets combust in a different way, right? And when you have all these uh, details in your notes, then you will be able to interpret the combustion and retrogression. One more thing about this. Let's say a planet is combust. A planet gets combust. Each planet has certain degrees which makes that planet combust. And when a planet gets combust, Parashara says, is not able to give the effect of the bhava it rules. Okay, so when we are judging the houses, when we are having a bhava placement or bhava judgment, the planet which is getting combust is not able to give you the result of that house, okay. But there are few other things we have to learn, other things we have to see. That is, let's imagine, let me see if I can draw. Okay, now I'm not able to draw here. So each planet has some degrees which are, beyond that it makes it combust, okay. So let's say for Mercury it is the 14 degrees, for Venus it's the 10 degrees, Mars 17, Jupiter 11, and Saturn 15 degrees, okay. But again, there are there are certain differences. Let's say a planet is, let's say this is sun, okay. And we oftentimes say that a planet which is close enough, let's say it's within the range of 6 degrees, it is combust, okay. So now imagine this as sun, okay, and now this is the planet which is close to the sun, okay. Now if that planet is moving towards the sun, is different than if that planet is moving away from the sun. Let's say 5 degrees. Let's say you have Venus and sun conjunct within 5 degrees. And now there are two ways, like let's say your sun is in the 20 degrees, and in the first scenario you have Venus placed into the 20 degrees which is moving towards the 25, and in the other scenario, let's say it's into the 29th degree, okay, or in the next Rashi, couple of degrees far from it. So what it shows is, this is not the same conjunction, even if those planets are in the same 6 degrees span. The second scenario is moving away from the heat of the sun, and the first one is moving towards the heat of the sun, okay. How many of you have learned something new today? Okay, just put in new into the comment box. I want you to share your comment. Please put in new if you learn something new today. Then I will share. Aditi Bharatwaj, new Manjulas, any new Tinang, any new Anju Khadian. Yes, we have. Yes, thank you. Because this is, there are a lot of myths and misunderstandings around this. But now, yes, Cleopatra is also saying new. What about others? Please put in yes, or if you have any queries, you can also put in here. So now, in the same scenario, Sun is placed in this degree, and one planet is 5 degrees here and 5 degrees away from the Sun on the both sides, right? Now, one planet which is moving towards the Sun is now retrograde in motion. So it is coming back. So it is moving away from the Sun. So it won't have the effect of combustion. Okay, so you have to see if that planet is moving towards the Sun or away from the Sun by the virtue of normal degrees or through the retrogression, right? Now the planet which was moving towards the Sun within 6 degrees is retrograde in motion, so it is moving back, so it is not going closer to Sun to get burned, so he won't feel the heat, so he's able to give the light, he's able to give the effects of what he signifies into a birth chart. Okay, so now you have to analyze yourself. I have a planet which is exalted, retrograde, and combust. Now just write it down and see exactly what's happening in. Okay, and which will give you the real idea about what you can expect, what you can do with this exaltation. Don't get uh, don't get scared with too many conditioning, like, oh, I have Jupiter which is exalted and retrograde and combust. Okay, so don't feel, just sort it one by one and you will come to a conclusion. You would be able to interpret your own chart. Okay, and okay, how many of you have watched my live free training on my website? I'm just pulling the link for that so that those who have not watched it, I would recommend you to go and watch this. This is completely free. Like, you don't have to pay anything, you don't have to get into anything, you simply have to spare 3 hours of your life. Okay, and if you can grasp this. Yes, Mari. Yes, Mari, it's free. Aditi Bharadwaj, it's awesome. By the way, yes, thank you, Aditi. I'm happy that you liked my effort. Okay, but you should go and watch that. If you can go and watch that, you don't need me. You don't need to buy any consultation from me. You don't need to buy course. You don't need me anymore. Okay, because if you're just starting into Vedic astrology, those 3 hours are so helpful for you to get you initiated into Vedic astrology. So just start your journey with that training and you won't have to pay anything. Okay. Okay, so once you complete that, you would have way better understanding about the Vedic astrology. Okay, now let's go through the questions. Effect of Shani Mahadasha and Rahu Antradasha for Taurus ascendant and Aquarius moon person. For Taurus ascendant, Saturn is a Yogakaraka planet. Okay, so check the placement of these two planets to see what exactly is happening with the conjunction. Okay, let's say this conjunction is in the 10th house, and the Saturn is a Yogakaraka planet, so uh, it would help you in your career as well. I was born in Mesh Lagna, Venus retrograde in second house, in Vrishabh, Sun in third, and Mercury, Saturn are combust in the third house. Yes. So you have replied to me that Sagittarius ascendant Capricorn moon can get married this year. Can you please guess which Venus and the I cannot I cannot tell you that. Why? Because I don't know your dasha, right? For this, you can go and watch my timing of marriage video, wherein we have talked about the seventh lord, second lord, Jupiter Saturn transits, and you have to combine the dasha with the transit to exactly pinpoint the events. Okay, don't just go and watch YouTube videos, won't help. Even my transit video won't help you to know the timing for your marriage, because that's personal. You have to see your own horoscope and especially your dasha. Okay, so now I'm going through the questions one by one. I'm just starting the first question in the comments, so just be with me and don't spam. Okay, just put your question once. I'll read your question and answer it. Kundan unique. Jupiter debilitated and retrograde in Capricorn for Libra ascendant results. Okay, again, the planet is debilitated and retrograde, so it is not going to give you mm, any results of exaltation. Okay, check for the cancellation of the debilitation. Okay, and for the Libra ascendant, it rules the third and the sixth house. Okay, so see and it is placed into the third house and is retrograde. Okay, so just check out the effects of Jupiter in the third house video, watch that, and you will have more idea about it. But when it comes to debilitation and retrogression, it doesn't cancels it. Okay, there are other sutras, other rules to know about it, but certainly not the retrogression of it. Okay. In Pisces ascendant, Jupiter and Saturn conjunct in third house at both are retrograde. So third house for Pisces ascendant goes into the Taurus, right? And uh, they are retrograde. Okay. Whenever I almost in every stream, I emphasize that whenever I see Jupiter conjunct with Saturn, I literally pause, I stop for a while, because these two are great planets, and they have deep and long-term impact onto your lives. Okay, so whenever see Jupiter is a very good planet for Pisces ascendant, because it rules the 10th lord, because it rules the 10th house and the ascendant. Okay, Kendra and trine, and Saturn is ruling one Dushtana and one Upachaya house, right? And it is going into other Marak house. Okay, and both these planets have special aspects, so all these things complicate it a lot. Okay, to simplify it, with respect to the retrogression, whenever you have Jupiter retrograde into your chart, shows that you have greater abilities, and with the Jupiter retrograde becomes like a Saturn, and when it conjuncts with the Saturn, it's like a double Saturn. Okay, so you will have more and more application of the self in whatever you do. You will have the self efforts in whatever you do. Okay, and you will have the divine guidance as well in your effort. So your efforts will be well directed, and you will have unusual thinking about the life, because the Lagna Lord is getting exalted, not exalted, is getting the debilitated. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question. Is effect of retrogression debilitation will be reduced once they are matured or dashas are completed? See, those houses and those planets will get triggered throughout the dasha, antradasha, and the mm, transits as well. Let's say you have planet, let's say you have Jupiter in Pisces and is retrograde, and right now Jupiter is moving through the Pisces. Rahu will also transit through the Pisces. Then this retrograde Jupiter, let's say you have it in ascendant or 10th house or the 6th house, wherever, will get triggered. Make sense? Now you have to see the dasha, see the transit, and apply it. Then you will have a better picture about what's happening in. Okay. Next question is from Anilji. I have Saturn in Aries in that house. Is Saturn debilitated, and what would be the effect of? Yes, Saturn is debilitated in Aries. Okay, you should watch the um, Banga. Check for the cancellation. See where it is placed into the Navamsha. Where is the Lord of this Aries Mars placed in? Okay, there are certain rules which I have shared in my video which cancels the debilitation. Okay, go and check that; it will help you. Hi, Ellie. Yes, thanks for sharing. Do you have any specific question around it? Jupiter both retrograde. We discussed about that. Yeah. Is the effect of retro is reduced when they are mature? Yeah, we discussed this. Mars debilitated in D1 chart but exalted in D9. Will not. Manjula. Yes, see, the debilitation does not mean bad. Okay, you will see the precedents with the debilitated planets. Okay, it simply means that that planet, you need to check the lords. You need to see what's happening with that planet. The debilitation means that that planet does not have the right challenges. Okay, if that person have other planetary influence or he has a strong will, he can work on that. Okay, so let's say your Mars debilitated in the D1 and gets exalted into the D9. Okay, but you will still face the debilitation effect of D1 into your life. More so, you have to check the effect of you have to check the condition of the Mars and Moon as well, because Mars gets debilitated into the sign of Cancer, which is ruled by Moon. Ankita ji, If ninth lord is on Lagna at 0 degrees and also combust and having digbala, so how will that planet give result? Check dasha. But anytime when the planet is in 0 degrees or any, let's say, in 29 degrees, check if it is the uh, beginning of the Agni Dasha, Agni sign, or the end of the watery sign. Okay, because then it becomes a Gandanta point. But technically, when the planet is at a 0 degree or the beginning of the degree or the last few degrees, those are the strongest degrees of the for any planet. Okay, and you can expect some strong results around that house. Okay, but yes, you should check, if it is exalted, debilitated. It is debilitated but having a digbala. Now here comes the concept of the six-folded strength. There would be a lot of combinations, right? Let's say you have eighth lord into the first house but is getting exalted. How it is going to give you an effect? Okay, so for all these things you have to combine it with yogas and dashas. Okay, and these degrees of the planet becomes important for lajjitadi avasthas. Okay, check the lajjitadi avasthas of that planet. See if it is ashamed, or it's whether it's mudit, or any other good avastha. Then that planet will be able to operate on its higher level. Okay, thank you, Ankita ji. Very good question. We have such a handsome teacher. Thank you, Supernova. How will be dasha of combust yoga karaka? Yes, see again, another combination. A planet is yoga karaka, as in through lordship it rules one kendra and one trine, but that planet is combust. Whenever you see a combust planet, that planet is set. So the rays of that planets are not reaching on the earth, so it is not able to give you the results, right? So see if that is an inner planet or outer planet. Then check the degrees of that planet. Then check the degrees of the sun and see if it is moving away from the sun or it is moving towards the sun. Okay, and let's say if it is an inner planet, it is getting combust or it is getting retrograde, and still their rays are reaching on the earth, then you won't experience that combustion. And it's already being yoga karaka, it will give you good results. Okay, but when it will give you good results, that's a different story. Check the dashas. But yes, you have to play around with these combinations. I have exalted planet, combust, debilitated planet, retrograde, and combust, and going through the shah at 0 degrees. Right, you should come up with some you should come up with these questions. Thank you, Siddharthi, for asking this question. What is the Neha ji? What is the effect of Sun Mercury combustion in 12th house for Taurus ascendant with person undergoing Rahu Mahadasha and Saturn Antardasha? See, for where is you also have to mention where is Rahu, but whenever you have Sun Mercury conjunct into the 12th house, it becomes exalted. Now the Sun is exalted and Mercury is combust. Okay, and see the degrees, and let's say through the degrees and all other conditions, if it is still combust, you will feel the uh, challenge with communicating with the people. You will be shy. You will have uh, you will have a lot of challenges around the communication. You won't be comfortable connecting with new people. Okay, you will have problems or challenges associated with choosing the right words to communicate what you think about. Okay, so yes, the placement of Rahu is also important. Okay, so now let's move to another question. I have I have retrograde Jupiter in the eighth house and eighth house Lord. Great. Is Jupiter Mahadasha going to be good? Is 16 Viplav? Don't share your birth details on the public platform. It won't help you. Please don't share. Okay, just share your question, but don't share your birth details here. I'm deleting your comment, or you can delete it yourself so that you won't share this. Subhash Singh, hello sir. I'm Scorpio ascendant. I have Saturn 0 degrees retrograde in third house, Rahu in second. So my question is, should I consider Saturn in second house or the third house? Okay. So to check the uh, house, the exact house, there are two major criterias you have to consider. First is the ascendant degrees, right? You have to check the degrees of the ascendant, and the second part is check the Bhavachali chart. The Bhavachali chart, considers the degrees of ascendant and see how the placement of the planets through your chart, considering the degrees of the ascendant. Let's say you have ascendant degree into the 10th degree, right? So it will create each house with the 10th degree. So the first house will be from the 10th degree of the ascendant to the 10th degree of the second house, 10th degree of the third house, fourth house, fifth house, and so on, right? And based on this separation, the conjunction would be considered. Okay. So now, so how does planet house and Lord work, like Venus in the 12th house and Venus in Pisces 4th house, 5th house, like things? I already made a video on this. See, each whenever you see a placement of there is the lordship, the planet itself placed into that house, the lordship, and the significator. Okay, see the condition of these three. Let's say you want to judge your career, right? So you have to see the 10th lord, and you also have to see the significator of career as Saturn and Sun, right? Let's say you have to judge the fifth house of children or the second house of finances, right? Then you have to see that, where is the Jupiter, and where are the second lord and the fifth lord placed into your. Okay, so yes, this guy is here. He's here to say hi. Say hi. Okay. So this is how it works. Now let's look into some of the other questions. Okay, I have exalted moon in Taurus. Moon in Taurus, fifth house, exalted Venus with Rahu in third. What sort of result should I bring? I don't feel it's very fruitful overall. You know, this one placement, don't just judge on any one placement. Okay, it won't help you. I don't know your chart, so can't really say anything about this. Sun Venus in the fourth house. Sun Venus in the fourth house. In the Pisces, what does that signify? Whether they are retrograde? It was Baba. Sir, I have Venus Moon conjunct in the 10th. For Virgo Ascendant 7th Lord, is Baba moves to the 5th house spouse prediction. Now, any question around? Okay. Libra Ascendant in birth chart and D9 also. D1 chart, 12th house Mercury and Venus conjunction, D9 chart, 6th. Do you have any question around the retrogression? I would address them. Okay. I have combust Mercury with Rahu in Gemini. Yes. Sun at 0 degrees in first house. Yes. Okay. So whenever you have planets around that degrees, it becomes, intense. Okay. Check the element of that planet. Retrograde planets gives the result of the opposite sign as the Sanjay Rath. If Sanjay Rath is saying, follow him, he is genius. No questions asked. Okay. He is a master. So, Capricorn ascendant, Venus in the ninth house, Virgo debilitated. Sun in the ninth house, Virgo, Mercury, 8th house. All planets are direct. What about that? Okay. So I want to, do you have any questions around? Okay, Lagna Lord retrograde for Scorpio ascendant. What are the effects? Again, any house which the Lord is retrograde, it is unusual. So it shows you will have an unusual um, perspective, unusual understanding towards life. Saturn retrograde in Pisces for, we talked about it, right? Okay. So yes, guys, this was the retrogression, combustion, exaltation. Okay, if you still have any questions, you can put that into the comment section, and make sure you watch that live training, which I've already shared the link with you. Okay, and which will really help you. Okay, which will really help you to get started into Vedic astrology. Okay, so yes, thank you for being throughout this stream, sending you tons of positive energy, sending you high vibrations, love and peace. See you in the next stream on next Friday, 9:30 p.m. IST with a different topic. Namaste.